So if you've been following our channel, you'd be able to schedule your social media post in PostPulse, and you'll be able to do that from platforms like n8n and Make. But if you're working in a team, it's extremely important for everyone in your team to get a status update on the progress of your scheduled post, whether it failed, was posted, or maybe even pending. Now, there's a lot of ways to get an update on your scheduled post, but for our money, we'd recommend a webhook request. So in this video, we're going to show you how to set up a webhook request for PostPulse, and we'll be doing this all in n8n. So we'll add a webhook node in n8n. In our webhook node, you'll find a test URL and a production URL. We'll switch over to the production URL for our demonstration. Our HTTP method is going to be a post call. And we'll set our authentication method to be a basic auth. For this, we'll set up our own custom credentials. It doesn't have to be anything too complicated. For our example, our user will be default, and our password will be password 12345. We'll give it a name, save our credentials, and copy the production URL of our webhook. Head over to your PostPulse Developer Portal, and in your PostPulse app, switch over to the Webhook panel. This is where we'll find all of our webhooks. So create a webhook. And for our endpoint URL, paste the production URL we copied. Now for our API key, this is a security measure, and it's going to serve as an authorization header for our call. To generate our API key, head over to base64encode.org and we'll convert our basic auth credentials to a base 64 format and use that as our API key. So that would be us inputting our user and our password and encoding it. As you can see, we've got a base 64 encoding waiting to be used as our API key. All we'll need to do is add basic in front of our key, copy the key and paste it in our portal. For our event subscription, we should subscribe to all events. But for our demonstration, we'll just subscribe to 3 events. Schedule completed, which is the response we'll get if our post went successfully. Schedule failed, which is the response we'll get if our post failed. And schedule partially completed, which is the response we'll get for a more complex situation. So once we create our webhook, we'll be able to see it in our dev portal. Right now, we're going to publish our workflow, activate our webhook, and test it out. We'll do this by scheduling a post with an active workflow we've already built. If we checked our workflow's execution panel, we'll find that our webhook's working perfectly fine and we got a response. You see? Setting up webhooks for PostPulse is a lot easier than it looks. If we hopped over to our dev portal and headed over to the delivery sections of our webhook, we'll also see our recent webhooks and even read our webhook response. But let's go one step further. Let's apply our webhook to a workflow. In the workflow, we're updating an Airtable record and sending a message to our team Slack channel. We've set up an if node. And depending on our webhook response, we're either letting our team know that our scheduling has been a success, or we're letting our team know that our scheduling has failed. So here's our Slack channel. As you can see, it's currently empty right now. We'll head over to our n8n workflow, and we're going to change the channel we want our messages to go to. We'll switch it to the one we just saw. Once we've done that, we'll execute our workflow. And then we're going to run our previous workflow that schedules a post and wait for a response to our webhook. Our workflow is done, so we'll head over to our dev portal and check the delivery section of our workflow. If our setup worked, we should see our webhook response here. And if it really worked, we should find a message on Slack letting us know whether our post was scheduled or failed. And for a final verification, we're going to check our PostPulse dashboard to confirm that the response we're getting from our webhook is accurate. And there you have it. Our webhook is accurate, and we've notified our team on Slack that our scheduling has failed. And that is how we set up a PostPulse webhook in n8n. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment. Bye for now.